for the Georgia game. Is this an outlier for the rest of the games that CJ Stroud has played? Is this really who he is? Is this who we can expect at the NFL level? And I think we've seen that. Ladies and gentlemen, CJ Stroud is in fact that guy. Today we're going to have a very long and honest conversation about what CJ Stroud is doing thus far in his rookie season. It's nothing short of amazing to see a rookie quarterback playing the way he's playing. I think that I'm very happy I get the pleasure to see this, and I think that the Houston Texans, when you make the trade, you go and get a Will Anderson, then you go and get a CJ Stroud. You're getting two franchise cornerstones, and this was kind of what DeMeco Ryans, this is what he was envisioning when he traded up to get a Will Anderson after you just drafted your quarterback at number 2. So I'm looking at all of these different things and I say, okay, this is what you had in mind. And it's playing out pretty good because it's also a move, okay, if we go get a Stroud and a Will Anderson and it doesn't work out, now we're looking at GMs. Now we're looking at DeMeco Ryans. We did not pick the right guy. And we also traded away our next year's first rounder. Now they have the Cleveland Browns first rounder because they traded Deshaun Watson. But today I want to take a step back. I want to intel what does this mean for the outlook of the season. I want to intel what does this mean for the MVP race, for the playoff race, a lot of different things with the Houston Texans and the man under their center. Now, the first thing I want to talk about in today's video, what did we just watch? This is a couple minutes after the game just ended, and I want to talk about CJ Stroud and the manner in which he got the game-winning drive. Now, understanding you go and get your team in field goal range, you kick the field goal, you win the football game. But I think there's a couple things we have to look at for the full body of context. Understanding the Cincinnati Bengals were one of the hottest teams in football coming into this game. Joe Burrow has been looking healthier. He's been looking better from the quarterback position. They've been getting things going with a Jamar Chase. It was no T. Higgins today. And I think about defensively, this hasn't been their best defensive year, but they've been playing good enough to win along with Joe Burrow on the offensive side. So I think you come into this one today and really it can go either way. Hindsight is always 20/20. You can say, okay, I expected CJ Stroud to come out here and do this. I'll personally say I did not expect a performance like this in the manner in which he did it with the game-winning drive. I thought the Cincinnati Bengals, albeit going against a very good team in Houston, but I thought they would come into this game, win a game like this, and continue the win streak that they were on. Now, I think it's big when we talk about this game-winning drive because there's a couple of things we got to look at before this. The previous drives before CJ Stroud got the game-winning drive, they went punt, interception, punt, and then they got the field goal. So we look at those 3 drives prior to that when you got a punt, an interception, when Cam Taylor-Britt undercuts the football on a pass to Tank Dell. And you look at things like this when we have a punt, and then now we're saying, okay, we got to get this field goal drive, albeit the Cincinnati Bengals have all the momentum. So I think that was huge, and just seeing, okay, we get Dalton Schultz involved. Okay, we get Noah Brown involved. Noah Brown, actually, today on the game, he had 7 catches for 172 yards. This is a guy, when he came from Dallas and came over to Houston, will he be that same guy? Minus Dak. Now, I thought he did some very good things in Dallas, but to be able to transition, they had no Nico Collins today. I think Nico Collins is arguably CJ Stroud's best weapon right now as we look at the team. Tank Dell, he had 14 targets, but only hauled in 6 passes. So I'm looking at that. Dalton Schultz had 4 catches, 71 yards. I think in the overall body of work, this was a very good game and it looked a little bit different. Now, today you got Devin Singletary. He had 30 carries for 150 yards. The Houston Texans cannot run the football. Dameon Pierce hasn't been able to get going. Devin Singletary hasn't been getting going up to this point in the season, but I think today, having the run game coming along with the CJ Stroud, playing at the level that he's playing at, you're going to win a lot of football games. So when I look at this and say, okay, he's done it last week. You had the game-winning drive versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did it again this week. Game-winning drive versus Cincinnati. So what does this mean? I think, like I said, when I started off the video, I got to give my shout out to Nick Caserio, the general manager, making the decision to go get a CJ Stroud and a Will Anderson Jr. Giving up that first-round pick next year, saying, okay, we got Cleveland's. Now, Cleveland, they won today's game. We're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens a little later. But I think that also we have to give our credit to Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, how they've been able to live in third down possessions because they're not really getting a ton of first downs early and often. They're not running the football like I just aforementioned. They're getting this in the passing game. This is a top 10 passing offense with a rookie at quarterback. So I look at all of these things and say, okay, how are we designing these schemes? How are we getting guys into space, giving easy reads? Because especially in the first half, there was a play where the Houston Texans were in the red zone and they brought the blitz from the boundary. I said, okay, CJ CJ Stroud, you're in the red zone. If you don't get this football off, it's going to be a sack. And I didn't know at the time when the play occurred if he really saw that pressure. But little do you know, next thing I see it, the ball's out to the slant route on Noah Brown. So I'm looking at these different types of things. I'm saying, okay, this is a guy who's processing at a very high level. He's as accurate as it can get. All of these things you want from a franchise quarterback. And we said, okay, for the Georgia game, is this an outlier for the rest of the games that CJ Stroud has played? Is this really who he is? Is this who we can expect at the NFL level? And I think we've seen that. We've seen a guy who can improvise, who can get outside of the pocket, who can make the throws on a run. He had a ball to Robert Woods in the end zone. And actually we say, okay, illegal contact. He stepped out of bounds. It was not a touchdown, but it was a big time play, just showing the improvisation skills and being able to throw on the run, making a great decision. So I want to talk about the totality of CJ Stroud's season before we get out of here. Right now, with the updated stats, 2,526 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now, other guys in the top 5 of passing yards have to play their football games, but right now, this would place him second in the NFL in passing yards. So we start to have that MVP race conversation. Now, of course, they're going to have to win a little more games because we talk about a Patrick Mahomes, a Jalen Hurts, a Tua Tagovailoa, some of the other top guys we look at quarterback play, Lamar Jackson still, even though they lost today. I think we say, okay, if he continues to win, he already has the narrative. He already has the storyline built in there because he's a rookie doing it at the level that he's doing it at. And I think that we say, okay, who's the MVP? Who's the best guy? Who, without this guy on their team, cannot be doing what they're doing, succeeding at the level they're succeeding at? I think CJ Stroud is one of the guys leading in the conversation like that. Now, his last 2 games. In the last 2 games, you play Tampa Bay, you play Cincinnati, 820 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, he had 5 touchdowns against Tampa Bay. I do want to get that out of the way and say it. But looking at this in today's game, they're 4th in passing offense, 8th and 3rd down conversion percentage. Like I said, they live in 3rd down. He's making big time throws against the pressure, without the pressure, understanding defenses, reading coverages, making these great decisions, and they're 11th in scoring offense. Now, some of these stats have to be updated, of course, but I'm looking at these things and I'm saying, okay, all of this, 27th in rushing offense. You have a bottom of the league rushing offense and you're still getting done what you're getting done. My hat goes off to CJ Stroud. I want to know what you guys think about CJ Stroud. What do you think about the game today? I think it was nothing less than exceptional. I'm bought into the hype. CJ Stroud is, in fact, that guy. Thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That's going to do it for today's show. And now, we out.